Today we discuss about deployment topic in Laravel. In this we have main topics like introduction, server requirements, server configuration, optimization, debug mode, easy deployment with Forge or Yampalla. Apart from this, we are having subtopics like engines, server configuration, and within the optimization, autoloader optimization, caching configuration, caching events, caching routes, caching views. Like this, we are having main topics and subtopics in deployment section of Laravel. So let's see the introduction. So when we are ready to deploy our Laravel application to production, so there are some important things we can do to make sure our application is running as efficiently as possible. So the server requirements will be PHP greater than or equal to 8.1, C-type PHP extension, curl PHP extension, DOM PHP extension, file info PHP extension, filter PHP extension, hash PHP extension, MB string PHP extension, OpenSSL PHP extension, PCRE PHP extension, PDO PHP extension, session PHP extension, tokenizer PHP extension, XML PHP extension. So like this, these are the server requirements in order to deploy our application. Let's see server configuration. So it depends on the server configuration depends on the engines and what kind of server we are going to use to deploy our application. So if we are using engines, so if we are deploying our application to a server that is running engines, so we may use the following configuration file as a starting point for configuring our web server. The file will need to be customized depending on our server's configuration. So we would like assistance in managing our server. So consider using first-party Laravel server management and deployment services such as Laravel Forge. The configuration below, the web server directs all the requests to our application's public/index.php file. So the project root will expose many sensitive configuration files to the public internet. So the file will be like this. So the server listen 80 listen : 80 port number, server underscore name example.com, for example, route srv example.com/public, add underscore header, so the header information will be added, index.php, charset utf8, location, try underscore files, URI index.php, query string, location, error page. So like this, we will be having the configuration, engines configuration file. Let's see optimization, autoloader optimization. So when deploying to production, make sure that we are optimizing composer's class autoloader map, so composer can quickly find the proper file to load for a given class. So it will be like this, command will be like this: composer install -optimize -autoloader --no -dev. So like this, autoloader command will be there. So in addition to optimizing the autoloader, we should always be sure to include a composer.log file in our project source control repository. Our project's dependencies can be installed much faster when a composer.log file is present. Caching configuration. when deploying our application to production, so we should make sure that we run the config:\cache artisan command during our deployment process. PHP artisan config:\cache. This command will combine all of our Laravel's configuration files into a single cached file, which greatly reduces the number of trips the framework must make to the file system when loading our configuration values. If we execute the config:\cache command during our deployment process, we should be sure that we are only calling the env function from within our configuration files. Once the configuration has been cached, the .env file will not be loaded, and calls to the env function for .env variables will return null. Caching events. So we have seen caching configuration by using the command called PHP artisan config:\cache. Now we see caching events. So the command will be like this: PHP artisan event:\cache. So if our application is utilizing event discovery, so we should cache our application's event to listener mappings during our deployment process. So this can be accomplished by invoking the event:\cache artisan command during deployment. Now we see caching routes. So we use a command called PHP artisan route:\cache. So if you are building a large application with many routes, so we should make sure that we are running route:\cache artisan command during our deployment process. So this command reduces all of our route registrations into a single method call within a cached file. So improving the performance of route registration when registering hundreds of routes. So this is about caching routes. Caching views. So we use the command called PHP artisan view:\cache. So when deploying our application to production, we should make sure that we run view:\cache artisan command during our deployment process. So this command pre-compiles all our blade views, so they are not compiled on demand, improving the performance of each request that returns a view. So this is about caching configuration, caching events, caching routes, caching views. So this is about caching processing deployment in Laravel. Let's see debug mode. So the debug option in our config/app.php configuration file determines how much information about an error is actually displayed to the user. By default, this option is set to respect the value of the app_debug environment variable, so which is stored in our application's .env file. App_debug environment variable. In our production environment, this value should always be false. If the app_debug variable is set to true in production, we risk exposing sensitive configuration values to our application's end users. So that's why we set it as a false in production environment. App_debug environment variable. Easy deployment with Forge or Wrapper. Let's see Laravel Forge. If we aren't quite ready to manage our own server configuration or aren't comfortable configuring all of the various services needed to run a robust Laravel application, Laravel Forge is a wonderful alternative. So Laravel Forge can create servers on various infrastructure providers such as DigitalOcean, Linode, AWS, and more. In addition, Forge installs and manages all of the tools needed to build robust Laravel applications such as engines, MySQL, Redis, Memcached, Beanstalk, and more. So like this we will be using Laravel Forge for easy deployment. Let's see Laravel Vapor. If you would like to totally serverless auto-scaling deployment platform tuned for Laravel, so we will be using Laravel Vapor. It is serverless and auto-scaling deployment. We will be using Laravel Vapor. So Laravel Vapor is a serverless deployment platform for Laravel powered by AWS. So like this we will be using Laravel Vapor. So it is fine-tuned by Laravel's creators to work seamlessly with framework. So we can write our Laravel applications, we can develop our Laravel applications exactly in what way we want to develop. So like this we will be using Laravel Forge and Laravel Vapor for easy deployment. So this is all about deployment process in Laravel. So thank you so much. This is Universal Horse Star Ravindar Reddy Yampalla. Thanks to all of my fans, supporters and followers, and special thanks to all of my YouTube subscribers. Thank you so much. I will come up with more Laravel topics in coming days. Thank you so much.